Today on Politics Unplugged, we talk to Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego about the president's immigration policies and whether he plans to run for the White House. Plus, did Iranian hackers target Arizona after Israel bombed the Islamic Republic? And who is winning the all-important money primary in Arizona's high-profile governor's race? Our panel breaks it all down now on Politics Unplugged. Good evening. I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and this is Politics Unplugged. While the House goes on recess, the Senate remains in Washington for at least another week to confirm President Trump's nominees. I caught up with Democratic Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego this week to talk about everything from the Epstein files to his own presidential aspirations. Thank you, Senator, for taking some time out of your day to join us here on Politics Unplugged. And there's a lot to get into, but I definitely want to start with something that's very pertinent here in Arizona. That is the north rim of the Grand Canyon. We're all aware of the Dragon Bravo fire. It just destroyed dozens of buildings in the area, including a historic lodge up there. What are you hearing? You've called for an investigation into the management of that fire. Since it was initially, it's been reported that it was handled as a controlled burn at first. You wanted to know why that decision was made. What's the latest on that? Do you think you're going to get the investigation, or do you think you'll get the answers you're looking for?
Well, we haven't heard the answer, and obviously the most important thing is we want to learn from this. The fire is only 26% contained, but the problem is that someone made a really bad call, to try to turn this fire that was caused by, we think, by lightning or something else, and they instead of trying to contain it, especially during a dry season and high winds, they try to turn it into a controlled fire, which ended up, of course, really hurting the northern Arizona economy. You know, that lodge there, that historic lodge, is part of Arizona's culture and part of our, very key to our northern North Rim economy. And now that, we're essentially going to be shut down potentially for a couple of years. So we want answers. Number one, see who needs to be held accountable. Number two, we want to make sure we learn from these mistakes so our further forest fires aren't as negatively impactful to our rural Arizona communities.
Yeah, and looking forward, Arizona Congressman Eli Crane says he wants to fast-track rebuilding up in that area, which basically means fast-tracking some of those environmental regulations up there. Are you familiar with Mr. Crane's proposal, and do you support the idea of trying to fast-track this, even if it means fast-tracking those environmental regulations?
I don't know his proposal, but I do believe in that same spirit. We know that where the footprint of this area has been the footprint of the lodge, we should go as fast as possible to rebuild this lodge, and we should cut through whatever red tape we can. And I'm sure we can still take care of some environmental concerns, but not to the point where it bogs down redevelopment and creating of the structure of this area, because again, that will negatively impact the whole northern Arizona economy. We just cannot afford to have that, Arizona deserves to have this lodge rebuilt. It's part of our culture, and any bureaucracy, whether it's comes from the state, local, or federal, needs to be cut through to get it done as fast as possible.
And in considering a lot of the cost cutting that's been going on this year with government and the politics at play right now in the nation's capital, are you confident that the federal government will fully support and fully fund rebuilding the area?
Well, I think you're going to have a fully engaged Arizona congressional delegation. Both Democrats and Republicans are going to work together to really put as much pressure and leverage on the federal government for that to happen. Democrats and Republicans love this state just as equally. My colleagues on the House side, I may not agree with them 100% of the time, but I know they want to make sure that we have a fully functional economy in northern Arizona, not just, the great state of Maricopa. And we're not going to let, government bureaucracy, whether it's Democratic or Republican, stand in the way of making sure that we continue with the great success that we have in Arizona going so far.
Okay, I want to pivot now. I want to start talking a little bit about the ICE raids and the deportations that is happening. An interesting development here in the last couple of days. Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, who replaced you in your district when you represented the House, she was denied access to an Eloy detention facility where some of these migrants are being held. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and I also wanted to know if you have visited any similar facilities like that in Arizona.
Well, number one, that's a violation of federal law. You know, many years ago, I was there and helped pass a law that said that you can, as a federally elected official, congressman or senator, you should be able to visit any detention center to make sure that, you know, humanitarian conditions are being met, and also to make sure that there is no abuse, whether it's of the prisoners or of government funds. Secondary question, we have not been to any facility, but largely just because I've been a lot, as you know, on parental leave, but we do, of course, plan to go soon. But back to even the overall issues, again, what we should be focused on is what the voters of Arizona told me. They want a secure border, which President Trump has accomplished, but they don't want the separation of families. They don't want these long-term members of a community that have no criminal records that are being, you know, arbitrarily detained and deported. Instead, what they want is to go after the gang members, you know, the criminals, the people that should not be in this country, and let's find an actual pathway to keep these people in this country, people that have community roots, instead of wasting time, money, and focus on these community members, some of them which are restaurant owners, you know, people that we've known for quite a while, and losing focus from going after these really horrible criminals.
And obviously, you've got a strong constituent services account. You get emails, you get letters, phone calls from people. Have you heard any allegations, or what I should say, what have you heard from people about the treatment of the people that are being detained and held in these facilities here in Arizona?
You know, we've heard concerns about, you know, the treatment of people in Arizona facilities and across the country, which is why we'll go visit one. But number two, overall, we've also heard a lot of people talking about how this is a total mismatch of what they want. They want to have secure border. They don't want to continue to see, you know, these mass deportations, these roundups of happening, particularly something that is involving racially profiling. They don't want us to be going after, you know, these teenagers, family members, and separating them. They want the government to go after criminals, drug cartels, people that aren't contributing to this country, and that's not what you're seeing right now, and that's not what they voted for.
Yeah, and considering that you have heard some complaints about this, and you haven't visited yet, I know you've been busy, but don't you think you should have already visited some of these facilities like Yasmin Ansari has done? She has traveled out of the country, actually, to some of these facilities, and you have not been to a facility here.
Well, as you know, we have a very busy schedule here in the Senate. I also just had a newborn, and I do prioritize my family first, and there's be plenty of time for us to be doing those visits.
And still ahead, I asked the senator about the practice of ICE agents hiding their faces while taking people into custody when Politics Unplugged continues. Welcome back to Politics Unplugged. I asked Senator Ruben Gallego about ICE agents wearing masks and whether his visit to Iowa is a sign that he's thinking about running for president. Here's the rest of our interview. There's been a lot of attention recently put on the ICE agents as these raids we see play out across the country. Many of these ICE agents, or if not all of these these agents we see, are wearing masks. They're covering their faces. Attorney General Chris Mays recently had some pretty strong words about that. I'd like to get your opinion about that and whether or not these agents should be masking up and hiding their identities when they do that.
Well, this is an issue of safety more than anything else, and that's what we have to focus on. We now know of dozens of cases all across the world, all across the country, of men claiming to be ICE agents, not showing ID, potentially trying to abduct women, assaulting women, robbing innocent people by claiming that they are, again, ICE agents, and you know, taking away, you know, with the property or someone's liberty. So it's important that we find a way for us to both provide security to some of these ICE agents, but also for the public to know that these are truly lawful employees of the federal government, that we're able to identify who they are in case they abuse the system, while at the same time making sure that we're protecting the civil liberties, both of the federal agents as well as the people that are being detained. Yeah, so at the end of the day, there's a way for us to do this. Right now, this system is being abused to the point where I think it's causing a lot of distrust in the community and not bringing any security. And again, back to the core, what we need to be focusing on is the fact that the priorities are misaligned. Instead of focusing on real criminals These agents are being sent after everyday immigrants that are working in our communities, and that's what's causing a lot of the mayhem and chaos in our community. When ICE and DHS was focusing on criminals, when they were going after gangbangers, when they were going after the people that prey both on the immigrant community and the non-immigrant community, you didn't see as much opposition really from whether the immigrant population or just in general the population. It's now that they're abusing some of the ability to go after people through racial profiling, going after people that are here but have no criminal history, that you're seeing people really stand up and rise, and that's where you're seeing the public really get mad.
Yeah, and I just want to push back on the mask thing. Just one last question on that. The defense to that is coming from the administration and supporters of this is that the ICE agents themselves have to be protected from doxing and protect themselves, their families. What do you say to that?
There are ways, obviously, to have both protection for the police force and also protect the public. And at the end of the day, what we're asking to make sure is that this isn't an abusive system. These ICE agents are sometimes showing up without warrants, without proving who they are. And again, now we see there's abusive systems, women being potentially kidnapped, assaulted, families being robbed by people claiming to be ICE agents. So there is a way to do this. There is a way for you to actually be able to both enforce the law and at the same time provide safety. We see that all the time with our police officers every day. And so I think the administration should really fix the overall problem by actually targeting real criminals. And when you actually targeted real criminals, you wouldn't have the massive movement you have of civilians against this abuse that you're seeing on ICE, from ICE.
All right, we're running out of time, so we got to wrap up here on a couple of quick things here too. The Epstein files. I just wanted to get your reaction. The House is basically shutting down this week to block any votes on releasing the so-called Epstein files. I wanted to get your reaction to that. And additionally, I just wanted to know where you stand on more clarity on where you stand on releasing these files.
Well, I think we should release the files. I think it's a shame that the House of Representatives, led by Republicans, who have been talking about the Epstein files for the last 8 years, who have been hounding government employees and calling them, part of a cover-up to cover sexual child exploitation, have now essentially are conducting part of a cover-up. This is the president who said that he was going to release the files. He had a mockery of releasing files with Attorney General Pam Bondi, and now they're all over the place. Because of all the doubt that they've thrown in the air, because of the doubt they've thrown towards our government officials, our DOJ officials, the best thing we can do is for them to actually fully shed the light on these documents and absolutely release them all.
And are you at all concerned? Because, in grand jury testimony and some of the stuff that are in these files, there may be people who have done no wrongdoing, but their names could be in this file, and that could do damage to their reputation. Are you at all concerned? And there's a lot of victims. I think what can get lost in this is there are lots of victims of Jeffrey Epstein still out there.
Yeah, you can easily listen. You can easily do that. You can easily filter out, especially victims, particularly people that are part of. That were named in the investigation but weren't actually part of the criminal act. But let's be clear, there's something going on here. We now know that the president asked the FBI to actually comb through the files to make sure that they took out any mentions of his name. This is a campaign that was started by this campaign and by Republicans for years. This is an issue that they have brought up, they have brought forward, and now essentially, unfortunately for them, the dog has caught the bumper of the car, and they just don't know what to do. So the best thing we could do to rebuild trust is to release all the files with sensitivity, obviously, to the victims and to other innocent people, so the American public can make their own determination.
All right, and let's wrap up here on something a little bit lighter, just more political here. You're going to my home state, the state of Iowa, has a lot of political significance out there. There's a lot of people who are potential presidential contenders like to visit that state. You're going there next month. You're going to the Iowa State Fair. So you want to tell us right now that you are interested in possibly pursuing a run in 2028? Or are you going to tell me that you're just going to the State Fair to go see the butter cow, the famed butter cow in Iowa?
Well, as you know, Dennis, I unfortunately have packed up in the pounds, trying to lose it as much as possible. But what I do hear is the Iowa State Fair has some really great corn dogs, so I'm excited about going there and tasting that. And of course, this is also to have an overall real conversation about what just happened with the really big bad bill. It is the senators of Iowa and members of Congress of Iowa that just cut Medicaid to give tax cuts to the very rich, which is going to affect both Iowa and Arizona, where millions of people are going to lose their health care. There are no Democratic representatives of Iowa or in the Senate, so we're going to go take that fight to them. And at the same time, we'll maybe taste a little something here and there at the Iowa State Fair.
I was going to say you could have that conversation about Medicaid and what that here in Arizona, but going to Iowa, and you know that we all know that that's going to stoke all those presidential rumors, but you go in there anyway.
Well, look, as you know, I actually made a lot of trips up and down in Arizona right before going on paternity leave, where I visited some of the reddest parts of the state. In rural Arizona, in northern Arizona, and tribal Arizona, talking about the fact that the cuts to Medicaid are going to be detrimental and harmful to Arizona. And I think that message is just as important in Iowa and other states that are very key to us actually taking control and bringing some sanity back and potentially saving Medicaid and health care coverage for millions of Americans.
All right. Senator Ruben Gallego, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Have a good one.
And I'm bringing in our panel to talk about all of this week's major headlines, including the latest developments over the Epstein files. That's next on Politics Unplugged. This is your weekly political roundup, a quick look at the top stories in Arizona and across the country. We begin with the so-called Epstein files.
House Republicans stand for maximum transparency and truth. We always have and we always will.
House Speaker Mike Johnson essentially shut down the House rather than vote on releasing the files related to Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex trafficker with deep political connections. The Wall Street Journal also reported that back in May, Trump's Attorney General informed him that his name appears in the files. Arizona's Secretary of State is pretty sure Iranian cyber hackers targeted his office just days after Israel bombed nuclear sites inside the Islamic Republic. Adrian Fontes said the hackers uploaded black and red images of the former Iranian leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, to a website used by Arizona political candidates.
For those families, this is huge.
Hundreds of lower-income Arizona families are now in line to get some help paying for their child care as part of the new state budget Governor Hobbs recently signed.
Money is one of the most important indications of how well a campaign is going. And certainly it's not the only indication that things are going well.
And the latest campaign finance reports show Governor Katie Hobbs beating everyone over the past 3 months. The incumbent Democrat raised $1.3 million, more than double what her top Republican challengers took in. Now let's bring in our panel, Democratic political consultant Don Penage and Republican consultant Barrett Marson. Let's start with those Epstein files. Andy Biggs had an interesting vote in a congressional subcommittee. He voted not to subpoena the records, not to release the Epstein files, even though he's somebody who's kind of been asking and clamoring for the release.
Yes, well, he has fully bought into the whole conspiracy that, first of all, Epstein didn't commit suicide, and that there are lists of people who, clients and whatever. So it was a little bit of a surprise to see him vote no. Now, I understand he says, hey, it's a Democratic bill and they're just playing politics. But
he says he was trying to improve it with some amendments.
But still, either you are for the release of the files or you're not. And how you express that is through your votes, if you will, especially on something like this. So I am a little surprised. And I'll be interested to see how it plays out a little bit with the base.
Yeah, and how it plays out is interesting. Like, Don, is this kind of becoming a litmus test in the Republican Party, like whether you want the Epstein files released or not?
I believe so. And I think, what we can't forget is that Biggs is running for governor. And for Arizona voters, I think you need to start to pay attention to the signs here. So first, there was his vote on the big, beautiful bill. This is a man who was a budget-first lawmaker, who was a deficit hawk, who flip-flopped to kiss the feet of Trump. Now we have another vote that he has been clamoring the opposite message for years, as recently as just a handful of months ago, and again, flip-flopped. If you're an Arizona voter who wants balance in government, who wants predictability from your leadership. Biggs is showing that he is not the one.
Yeah, and she brings up the governor's race, which is interesting because Karen Taylor Robeson, the main Biggs's main primary opponent, stayed very silent on this. She has spent $2 million on ads reminding everybody that she's close with Trump, that she got his endorsement, but yet she's not weighed in on the Epstein file stuff yet. Should she?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to make something a point about Biggs. I think this is one of the main reasons he really wants to leave Congress, because he has to make these really bad votes on things that he's never voted to raise the debt ceiling. Now he's voted to raise the debt ceiling by trillions of dollars. So I think he really wanted to get out of Congress, just stop making these bad votes. As far as Karen Taylor Robeson, I mean, she's not in Congress. She doesn't have to make this vote.
She spent $2 million tying herself
Epstein,
and she's staying silent on this. But she's also coming out and telling Congress what to do on other issues. Right. So she's inviting these kinds of questions, right?
Well, I think that these files are eventually going to get released, and they'll show almost nothing. Nothing interesting anyways.
All right, the bold prediction from Barrett. But eventually Karen Taylor Robeson is going to have to say something on this. And I would imagine she's going to side with whatever the president wants, because she can't risk losing his endorsement in this primary, because remember, Trump has endorsed both Biggs and Karen Taylor Robeson. You don't want to move forward in a Republican primary without his endorsement.
That's right. So she already lost some shine when he endorsed Biggs after he had already endorsed her. And so Biggs is proving that he'll flip-flop and go wherever the political winds want to take him. Taylor Robeson is showing that if she can't pay for the commercial and have total control over what the public knows about her, that she's not willing to speak out, which I think Arizona voters also are not going to want. Someone who only operates in a perfectly controlled environment, which politics is not.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, I mean, look, it's fun to watch, I guess, and Democrats are having a great time with this, putting Republicans on the record about the conspiracies that they've been crowing about for the last couple of years. But really, the Epstein thing doesn't impact Arizona voters or American voters at all. There is certainly a segment of the Republican base, Donald Trump's base, the MAGA base, that believes there is a conspiracy theory hidden within Epstein's suicide and all that stuff. But egg prices, gas prices, milk, the tariffs, those are the things that will really matter come 2026.
And let's talk, since we're talking about the governor's race, let's talk about the campaign finances. No big surprises there. I mean, the incumbent governor outraising everybody. Were you surprised at all maybe Karen Taylor Robeson didn't loan herself more money? I mean, she did loan herself some money in this, but she only raised about $600,000.
Yeah, well, I think she knows that she can loan herself more when the time comes. She kind of brought attention to herself by spending big so early that it was kind of to the rest of us, why are you doing this? So I think she's trying to be a little bit more cautious now, knowing that she can pay for whatever she needs to pay for when the time comes.
Money will not.
Is she going to be willing to spend more than she did a couple of years ago, over $20 million?
Well, I mean, I would say that she'd have to spend at least that, right? I mean, if you were in it
you think she's
15
going to
or
do
so,
that?
right? I think so. I don't think money is going to be an issue in this race for her. For someone like Andy Biggs, it is. I mean, he had his best quarter at $400,000 and change.
And he got some help from Turning Point Action, the political committee.
But there is no way he can go toe-to-toe with Karen Taylor Robeson on money. But, money isn't everything, as one of your commentators has said.
All right, well, we're going to have to end it right there. That's all the time we have this week. But be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night.